Michigan State was the best shooting team in the Big Ten this year, and they've given ample evidence of why tonight. 14 of 20 for 70%. Timeouts remaining. Michigan State 2, Kansas 1. Skiles and Magic, he reminds many in terms of his contribution to this team of those of Irvin Magic Johnson, who departed in 1979 with an NCAA title. Michigan State 70% in this half. Danny Manning has an answer. 17 points for Manning and a 1-point margin again. 4:25 to go in the game. If it comes down to a free throw shooting contest, Michigan State is an excellent free throw shooting team, hitting 80%. They are 17 of 22 so far tonight.
Smart move on the part of Skiles. He pulled the ball out to see what kind of defense they were in. Well, when you throw up shots like that from that range, it makes no difference what kind of defense you're in.
Scott Skiles had a game against Wisconsin earlier this year when he went 18 of 21, and 12 of those shots were from better than 18 feet. There's a tip by Thompson. 73-72, 3:50 to go in the game.
Thompson has definitely got his second win. He's doing it inside and out.
Vernon Carr to Skiles. They'll try and work on Manning underneath and get him his 4th foul. Barry Fordham is under there, guarded by Danny Manning.
Again, looking for the seams in the zone defense. Need some men flashing in the middle.
That surprise you at all that Barry Brown has gone to that zone?
Not at all. Not at all. Again, Danny Manning has 4 fouls. He's got to go a little something to protect him as well.
Offensive foul. That's 4 on Darryl Johnson, the junior out of Flint, Michigan. And it brings Judd Heathcoate up out of his chair. Johnson, the second leading scorer for Michigan State, has 10 points tonight, but he, like Skiles, set out the final 6.5 of the first half. And Kansas with a chance to regain the lead. Ron Kellogg, one of the best shooters in the country, skip pass. Now Hunter, he's the assist man. Archie Marshall, Dreiling has been on the bench for about 6 minutes. There's Kellogg, no. Vernon Carr with a rebound, Thompson with a foul. That's 2 on Calvin Thompson. Heathcoate and Larry Brown trying to match tactics. Foul trouble. Polec and Johnson with 4 for Michigan State. Manning and Kellogg with 4 for Kansas. Stiles has played the entire second half with 3. He'll take it from there. Polec, another strong blue-collar rebound.
That's one of the problems with the zone defense. You have a little difficulty picking out a man to block out. Polec has been aggressive on the offensive boards all evening.
Underneath, the Danny Manning almost loses it, gets the off-balance ball. And again, a rebound for Vernon Carr. They're beating Kansas on the board. Stiles, Carr. He'll shoot 2, blocking foul.
The thing that I like about that play is you take a look at Scott Skiles pumping his arms in the air. Vernon Carr was the one who grabbed the defensive rebound, really worked his rear end off to get out on the break, and Scott Skiles rewarded him with a nice pass. Carr was the one who got on the defensive end. Why not make him a reward? Good play.
And that was the 5th foul for the Big 8 Player of the Year and the second-team All-American Danny Manning. He fouls out with 2:21 to go and leaves with 17 points and 4 rebounds.
That will hurt.
Greg Dreiling, who has been an ineffective offensive force tonight, takes his place.
That will hurt. Dreiling is nowhere near as quick a leaper as Danny Manning is.
Vernon Carr on the line with a 3-point lead. 2:21 to go in the game. And as soon as we say that Michigan State will have an edge at the free throw line, Carr misses. They're 17 of 23 tonight. They've hit 80% as a team for the year. A 4-point margin, 2:21 remaining.
Now, with Manning out of the game, that ought to favor the Spartans.
The clock is not operating right now. Dreiling tips it up. Kellogg gets it off the glass and in. The clock is not running. It's been stuck on 2:20. Now, finally, it starts again. And Judd Heathcoate is going to raise some men. The clock, there must have been 35 seconds that ran off. The clock was not running. Stiles, 76-74. It's set on the 2:20 mark. James, I'll bet you for maybe 30 is too much. But
and Judd Heathcoate well aware that he is still ranting and raving along the sideline, and as well he should.
Whistle, foul. Ron Kellogg has fouled out. He's a senior at Kansas.
Now, Judd Heathcoate is calling the official over. He wants to get some satisfaction as far as the clock was concerned. Again, you take a look at Scott Stiles working here. We're going to try to pick up the foul. Awfully light touch foul. If they call that one on Kellogg, very light.
Well, we've got two arguments going on now. Larry Brown talking with Bobby Dibler about the foul call. And meanwhile, Heathcote is trying to get the clock problem corrected. Technical. About the foul. Heathcote is wildly upset that the clock didn't run for, I'm going to guess, 15 seconds. And Scott Stiles, who's hitting 91% for the year, misses his second free throw tonight.
Larry Brown may not have gotten that technical had not the program he had in his hand when he swung it hit the official in the chest.
Stiles will shoot the regular free throw. Back to a three-point edge. It's a 4-point Michigan State lead, 78-74. Well, the finale of this game clouded in controversy as that clock was sitting at 2:20 for a good 15 seconds. Minimum 15 seconds. And then the controversial foul call as Ron Kellogg joined Danny Manning on the bench. Clock shows 1:45 to go. Michigan State has 2 timeouts left. Kansas with 1. And a fresh 45 in the shot clock. They'll work as much of it as they can. Spread it out. 78-74. Stiles
directing traffic, and in tough situations, close situations like this, you can't ask for a better leader than Stiles.
He was yelling at Larry Polec. Now he yells across, and they'll start the play with 15 left on the shot clock. 78-74. Vernon Carr back to Stiles. Stiles with 18 points tonight, well below his average, but hampered by fouls. From the corner, Barry Fordham. 15 points on a 7 of 9 shooting performance for the 6'8 junior from Buffalo, New York. Cedric Hunter counters. 80-76, under a minute to go. This Michigan State team knocked off Washington 72-70. They defeated Georgetown after finishing 3rd in the Big Ten. They are playing the 2nd-ranked team in the country. And they lead by 4 with 37 seconds to go.
And this is a good ball handling team out there for Michigan State.
20 seconds to go. And the foul called to the baseline with 27 seconds left.
Verne, the key is to go back to the first half when Scott Stiles left the game with 3 fouls, sat on the bench for 7 minutes. Kansas could not capitalize. Michigan State only went down by an extra point, and they were more than able to make that up.
27 seconds remaining. Mark Turgeon has come in. Scott Stiles, hampered with 3 fouls. He's been important tonight, but how can you overlook the play of Barry Fordham with 7 of 9, a man who is averaging 2.4 points per game.
Absolutely can't.
And he picks this game with Stiles in foul trouble. They hit 7 of 9 from the field. And a career high of 15 points. His previous career high was 8.
The key, Verne, is that they were not down by a big margin also to make that happen.
There's the follow that goes. Timeout is called. It's still up for grabs with 20 seconds to go.
Classic Sports is celebrating opening day of the new baseball season with opening day memories and a new lineup of classic games you thought you'd never see again. And baseball's legends recalling why the first game of spring is so special.
Your body's numb.
You get 100 million things going through your mind. You got a full-packed house.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Celebrate baseball's opening day with a new lineup of games and classic opening day memories. Only on Classic Sports Network.
When you ship with Priority Mail, it's a great way to save money. But what about other parts of the world? There's Global Priority Mail. And here's the best part. Give us a few days more, and you can save up to 70% over FedEx or UPS. So, what's your global priority? Try Global Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
Enterprise, rent a car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
A good sweat isn't so good once the game is over. That's why there's Irish Spring Sport. It has an extra antibacterial ingredient that kills odor-causing germs better than regular soap. It's Irish Spring Sport. Play as hard as you like.
CBS Sports presents a spectacular lineup of major events. The Daytona 500, the NCAA Basketball Championship, the Masters, the PGA Championship, and the dominant PGA Tour schedule, SEC and Big East football, the U.S. Open Tennis Championships, and coming this fall, the return of the NFL. You are watching the year-round leader in sports television, CBS Sports.
Classic Madness continues with Kansas versus Michigan State on Classic Sports Network.
There are officially 20 seconds left in this game. Had the clock not stayed still at the 2:20 mark for at least 15 seconds, that clock almost would have wound down. But it was never corrected, and Kansas is now out of its timeout. That will be the subject of a lot of conversation because I don't know whether it was a mechanical malfunction or an oversight, but Judd Heathcote is going to have some words to say about that. The clock did not start 2:20 for a good 15 seconds, and now officially 20 seconds left. Here are the ones you don't want to foul. Stiles and Polec leading the list. They'll probably go after Vernon Carr, but even he is hitting 70%. Michigan State called timeout right before the 5 seconds expired. Stiles quickly looked over at Bobby Dibler and screamed, timeout.
Awfully close.
It was really close. So now what, Mr. Brown?
There's no choice that Kansas has but to foul as quickly as possible. With 20 seconds left, they've got to get to Carr as quickly as possible. Carr is having a good game. And even he, as you mentioned before, shooting 69%. He's having a good game. I believe that emotionally they're playing extremely well. Preferably if they could come up with a steal and avoid fouling altogether, it will work a lot better for them.
Michigan State had a surge in the second half when Kansas went ice cold, hitting 38% coming out of the gates. Kansas led by 9 at the half. And James Brown pointed out with about 2 minutes to go in the first half that if Michigan State would go to the halftime locker room trailing by no more than 9, they were still in the game, and boy, they proved you right.
Which is why also the effort that Barry Fordham has put in, while it has absolutely been sensational, and he definitely is a key man, the key man for Michigan State in the second half, they did not have that big a deficit to make up as they should have with Danny Manning on the bench in the first half.
If you want to talk about an unlikely hero in a Midwestern Regional Championship game, you could look no farther than Barry Fordham, junior out of Buffalo, New York. His career high 8 points, but he is 7 of 9 tonight from the field, and he's done a terrific job defensively on Greg Dreiling.
Boy, the words of Coach Larry Brown certainly ring true now. He says, while we plan to do the job on Stiles and Johnson, we cannot afford to let anyone else on the team have a big game, and that's exactly what's happening with Fordham.
You saw the possession arrow showing Kansas way. Stiles inbound, gets it back to Brown, 1-1. The clock is still running now. It's down to 13.
They're really having some problems with that clock.
left in 19 seconds. Judd Heathcoate is going to get into this argument, and his argument will be it's probably now where it should be.
He wants to let the clock run. Well, you talk about a coach not losing the feel of the game and having to stay on top of a number of elements. Judd Heathcoate certainly showed that he was a good bench coach and staying on top of everything. When he saw that clock, he was right on top of it.
They have reset the clock at 19 seconds. Brown, the freshman, is at the line. He's hitting 87% of his free throws for the year. 13 of 15 for the season. And 81% in the final 4 minutes. Freshman from Hastings, Michigan. And Kansas with a chance to tie. Thompson. The tip is good. Want to welcome those of you watching Duke DePaul. Final shot of the game. They're going to overtime. Tip tied it up at 80, but let's not forget the case of the missing 15 seconds. Always keep that in perspective when remembering what happened in this game with 2:20 remaining in the game. The clock did not start for, we're going to guess, 15 seconds.
You're watching the Classic Madness Marathon on Classic Sports Network.
When you ship with Priority Mail, it's a great way to save money. But what about other parts of the world? There's Global Priority Mail. And here's the best part. Give us a few days more, and you can save up to 70% over FedEx or UPS. So, what's your global priority? Try Global Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
It's an Acura 24-valve V6, like the Acura NSX. It's the power of sequential multi-port fuel injection, like the NSX. It's four-wheel independent double wishbone suspension, like the NSX. It's comfortable seating for 5, like 2.5 NSXs. It's the TL from Acura. Now lease the 3.2 TL for $369 a month at your local Acura dealer.
Irresistible. Luscious. The new 99-cent Great Tastes menu at Burger King. 7 mouth-watering items, just 99 cents every day. What could be more tempting?
Are you going to eat all that?
Yeah. If you ask us, it just tastes better.
Ooh, a computer with the 300 megahertz Intel Pentium 2 processor. You know it's fast, and you thought it was priced just out of your reach. Until now. The $19.99 PC with the 300 megahertz Intel Pentium 2 processor from Gateway. Complete with 32 megs of RAM, 17-inch monitor, AGP graphics, and a whole lot more. Call us at 1-800-GATEWAY, and we'll build one for you.
American Express Small Business Services. How can I help you?
How can I help you?
Right. We only work with small businesses.
Why don't we start with your cash flow?
And our equipment financing plan will help spread out the payments.
That'll definitely give you more flexibility.
How about setting up a line of credit?
We can do that.
Then I'll put you in touch with one of our CPAs so you can start getting ready for tax time.
We can always make adjustments when your situation changes.
Call 1-800-SUCCESS to find out how American Express Small Business Services can help you do more.
Hi, I'm Bob Cousy, and you're watching Classic Sports Network.
And we're going into overtime. Both teams have lost once this season. The
somebody will change that record tonight, huh?
Well, now you're Heathcoate. You've got players in foul trouble. Your kids have fought back. Do you change anything at all right now?
Not at all, Verne. If anything, you would hope that the conditioning of the Michigan State players, if you judge Heathcote, is such that they can continue that transition game. As far as Kansas is concerned, their minus their big guy, Danny Manning, is going to be incumbent amongst the other players to really come through offensively.
Larry Brown's team in overtime lost once to Memphis State earlier in the season. The Michigan State loss was to Iowa State, a team that lost here earlier tonight to North Carolina State. Danny Manning, Ron Kellogg, both on the bench having fouled out. Cedric Hunter controls for Kansas.
We'll see who takes over the leadership role for Kansas because their leader is on the bench in Danny Manning. Michigan State still has theirs out there in Scott Stiles.
Stiles with 18 points, high for his team in the game. Has played the entire second half with 3 fouls. Dreiling ends the drought. He was 2 of 9 until he canned that basket. He's now hitting 30%, and Kansas takes an early lead.
This would be an excellent time for him to put aside the poor play in regulation time and come through in overtime.
Foul trouble, Polec and Johnson with 4. Manning and Kellogg are out. Skiles evens it up.
Well, the expression is a prime-time player, and Skiles is certainly it.
Cedric Hunter comes across, glances at Larry Brown on the bench. Is what do you want, Coach?
That 2-3 zone defense of the Spartans cannot allow Dreiling to get the ball in the paint. They've got to force him out high or front him and get some help on the lob.
From the top of the key, long rebound taken by Larry Polec, who's been a rebounding force tonight. Skiles lays it off to Polec, off the glass.
Good play, good play. Fans want to walk? Absolutely not.
Larry Polec with 14 points, and Michigan State back on top. 3:40 remaining in overtime.
Polec has really done his job nicely, an unsung hero who's really hit the boards hard tonight.
Skiles went for the steal. 11 rebounds for Larry Polec tonight.
And that's 6 over his average.
As a man who improved his field goal percentage dramatically in Big 8 play, shot over 70%. Set a Big 8 record, and it's tied at 84 again, 3:15 remaining. A sellout crowd at Kemper Arena. Stiles. Dreiling with a rebound. Kansas with a chance to go back on top. Cedric Hunter looks in the face of the zone. Archie Marshall, the man who tied it up with 7 seconds to go.
Got to keep Dreiling out of the middle.
Look underneath for Chris Piper. Hunter looks for Dreiling, settles instead for Archie Marshall, a junior college transfer who played at Seminole Junior College in Oklahoma last year. 14 seconds left in the 42nd clock. The fresh 45. Thompson with a chance for a 3-point play. Maybe hurt. Points for Calvin Thompson now, James.
Thompson does a nice job as he goes up for the rebound here, sticks with it, and at 6'6", 220, he uses that ball very nicely as he goes up, and he comes down on that knee in an awkward position. Looks like it locked a little bit on him. And he's trying to run it off, yeah.
Those of you who have not been with us throughout the game, a quick recap. Kansas was up by 9 at the half. Skiles was out with foul trouble with 3. Michigan State, led by Barry Fordham, made a run and took the lead at 63-62. They held the lead for most of that point on. They had a chance to ice it with 20 seconds remaining in regulation play with Mark Brown at the line, the freshman. But he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Kansas got the rebound. Archie Marshall put it in.
You know, Thompson wears a special insert in his shoe anyway. One of his legs is 1 5/8 inches longer than the other. It's a birth defect, so that could very well have contributed to the problem as well.
87-84 with 2:20 to go. And there was also, we cannot forget, the controversy of a clock that stayed at the 2:20 mark for a good 15 seconds in regulation time. It never did run. Underneath, Darryl Johnson. What a feed, Larry Polec.
Excellent pass. Excellent pass. Good recognition. The middleman on his own came up to cover him, and a good pass.
Kansas playing with its two leading scorers, Danny Manning and Ron Kellogg on the bench.
Barry Fordham is really winded on the inside. You can see it. He's huffing and puffing. And Vernon Carr's got a big task whenever Dreiling is on his side.
Archie Marshall. Calvin Thompson. Hits it again. 22 points for Calvin Thompson, 4 in overtime.
We'll talk about a heroic effort. He is really lumbering in pain.
Rebound, Polec is 12th of the game. Shot, Dreiling with the carry. 1:20 to go and a 3-point Kansas lead. Timeout. Kansas has a 3-point lead and the ball.
Classic Madness Marathon is brought to you by Burger King. If you ask us, it just tastes better.
Irresistible. Luscious, the new 99-cent great tastes menu at Burger King. 7 mouth-watering items, just 99 cents every day. What could be more tempting?
Are you going to eat all that?
Yeah. If you ask us, it just tastes better. Genital herpes isn't just about worrying over future outbreaks.
It's about suppressing them.
And it's not only about waiting for an outbreak to begin treatment.
It's about suppressing it ahead of time with Valtrex just once a day. Call 1-800-858-2546 to get product information for Valtrex and a free trial coupon. Remember, even if you don't have symptoms and are on suppressive therapy, it may be possible to spread herpes to others. There is no cure for genital herpes, and Valtrex may not prevent all recurrences. If your immune system is not normal because of advanced HIV disease, bone marrow, or kidney transplant, make sure your doctor knows this to avoid a potentially serious complication. In studies, the most common side effect was headache. See our ad in Us Magazine. Don't wait. Call this number today and ask your doctor about Valtrex. It's about suppression.
It comes in a flash and leaves in a heartbeat. It's opportunity. If you own a business like I do, you know all about it. You either jump all over it or you get in the long line of shouldas and couldas.
Opportunity? It's $1 million idea.
For me, it was knowing when to go out on my own.
Or finding a tool that makes doing business easier. The Gold Corporate Card for Small Business from American Express.
It's easy to apply. Call now.
The card started as a way to simplify bookkeeping. Today, it also provides savings at Kinko's, FedEx, and other businesses. And our dedicated Small Business Services Group offers savings on health and dental care, as well as equipment financing.
They do all that so I can stay ahead of the curve.
It's easy to apply. Call 1-800-SUCCESS.
Let American Express give your business the power to do more.
Classic Madness continues with Kansas versus Michigan State on Classic Sports Network.
Kansas leading 89-86 in overtime. We were tied at 80. We have 1:18 remaining for Lundquist and James Brown. Here at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, the Jayhawks are out of timeouts. Michigan State still has 2 left.
Verne, it's really going to be a crying shame that a game as well played as it has been between these two teams. The young men giving their all, and it has to be marred somewhat by what we think perhaps was a malfunction on the clock's part.
Well, there seems to be some thought now that even though the clock didn't start when it was at 2:20, it did jump down to the proper time. We'll try and check that. Here are those who are the poor free throw shooters for Kansas, and they'll go right at Cedric Hunter or Chris Piper, both hitting under 60%. You don't want Thompson on the line, and you'd rather not have Marshall or Dreiling. Judd Heathcote's team trailing 89-86.
No doubt, Coach Brown wants the ball in the hands of Turgeon and Hunter.
Mark Turgeon junior from Topeka. Dreiling inbounds to him. Darryl Johnson running man for man in the press. Turgeon gets it across. Quickly over to Thompson. Now to Archie Marshall. 89-86. 29 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Underneath. Calvin Thompson, the senior, with 25 points. And a 5-point margin. Stiles. Short. Foul on Polec. That's it for the game. Jumping in Jayhawk land, Larry Polec fouls out with 11 rebounds and 16 points. The senior out of Sterling Heights, Michigan. And Archie Marshall at the line gets the first of the 1-and-1. It was his basket that tied it up with 7 seconds remaining in regulation play. Brown up and hollering, get back, don't foul, don't foul. 3 bounces, Hunter with the rebound. Dreiling has it now, 35 seconds remaining in the game. And a 93-86 Kansas lead. Foul on Ralph Walker, number 15.
Size made the difference for Kansas down the stretch. The big guys under the basket just eventually wore out the little guys.
Fouled out with 11 rebounds and 16 points. His final game, perhaps, for the Michigan State Spartans. And another senior at the line now, the star of the second half in the overtime, Calvin Thompson. These kids were picked in the preseason to finish 8th in the Big Ten. And they've taken Kansas into overtime and had the lead with 20 seconds to go. And Mark Brown, the freshman, at the line, shooting 1-and-1 with a 2-point lead. Here's Thompson. Bounce pass, Marshall. Up and in. That should nail it. It's 96-86. Vernon Carr. Kansas got the scare of its young life. But playing before the home crowd, they advance to meet North Carolina State on Sunday. Scott Stiles in his final game for Michigan State. Larry Brown relieved now with his 2 top scorers on the bench, Kellogg and Danny Manning. Turn to another senior, Calvin Thompson. Thompson wound up with 26 points for the night. Kansas outscores Michigan State 16-6 in overtime.